Hello everybody, Fox here, going to bring you another 1 versus 1. This will be a 2.6 matchup, and I'm going to get this game started right away from the 5-second mark, starting in 3, 2, 1, play. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And our two players today up in the north playing as the Panzer Elite is Audemed2, also known as just Audemed on our game replays forums, and down in the southern position we have our player Keyofwall playing as Americans. And remember, this is a 2.6 matchup, so all those changes that you have memorized, or you should have memorized, are not in this game here. So Panzer Elite in 2.6 have been considered kind of underpowered. The strafing runs have also been kind of overpowered, and they have been nerfed in the beta. So let's see how this goes for our Panzer Elite player. It's going to be a little bit harder for him, especially both of these players are actually around the level 14-16 range, so they definitely know what they're doing. And we're gonna, I tried something new. I believe it was Arman KG. I've watched some of his cast, and the way he does his camera is very nice. I've noticed when I do my vidcast, if you watch it through YouTube, of course, I kind of move the camera around like I'm playing. It's moving around a lot. None of you guys have complained really, but I'm just trying to still make it better by making the scrolling speed really low and kind of make it more viewable, so it's not, the camera isn't jumping around all the time. Of course, I'll still jump around to go across the map, but like when there's a fight going on, I'm not gonna move the map, the scrolling thing all over the place. So you'll see how it goes. But anyway, it looks like we have two Panzer Elite squads out here taking on an engineer squad. Our American player wisely goes into that building to get that extra cover, and actually playing a little bit of mind games here to bait the Panzer Elite player out by exiting that building, getting him out of cover. But it's not going to do too much damage really. The engineer squad doesn't do that much, and they're actually out of range at the moment, while that can in the back is capping. And I didn't really get to see what these two players built while the engineer is getting fired on, actually almost taking quite a bit of damage. They're losing one guy down to 1/4 health. Do we have reinforcements? And yes, we do have a rifle squad, so they're just trying to stay in there as long as possible, get that rifle squad over here and replace it into that building. So now that squad is still stuck in there. Our Audemed decides, no, this is not a fight, I need to take damage on it. It's just gonna stall his capping power, keep him there for too long. That's what Keyofwall wants, but he is wisely exiting that and gonna keep this kitten safe here. We have another fight actually here on the left side. Let's see if he brings those two Panzer Elite squads over. He is retreating the squad towards the right for the support of these two extra squads, and this rifle squad is going to be a little bit of trouble, as I don't see any squads really. Only one rifle squad on the field at the moment. He has one engineer squad, but it's definitely not enough to take on 3 Panzer Elite squads, especially one that is upgraded, while that cannon just happily capping. So nice capping there. However, in the meantime, our American player is capping over here on the left side at +60. And I forgot the rifle squad that was in the building doing a little bit of flanking here, so they're kind of stuck in the middle. He needs to focus fire down one squad. There's no reason to split up your fire, and he kind of is doing that. He keeps switching off. He was fighting this squad and then this squad. This squad, left rifle squad, has moved in, so he's now focus firing that down wisely, knocks it down to 2 guys. And now he is pretty happy about that, and only needs to focus down one rifle squad. And you can see he needs to use this yellow cover. There's yellow cover right here, here, and here. You definitely want to fight at a ranged fight, so I think it would be Audemed's best interest to scoot back just a little bit. It's too late now, but earlier to use this yellow cover and keep that fight further away. But he will win this fight anyway, and forces that second rifle squad to retreat. Now a third and a engineer squad is coming out here, so these guys are just trying to hold the line here, but what they're doing is they're stalling. I don't know who's benefiting out of this really. I'd say the Panzer Elite player, just because he's done more damage out of his 3 squads. The American player has been sending his squads one at a time, and one at a time is not going to do as much damage. But in the meantime, both players were keeping up on their capping. Looks like our American player is slightly ahead and is now capping the +10 fuel. So really, if he gets this cap, he's going to have double the income with his fuel, and that fuel is of course used for teching and whatnot. Already a supply yard going up, and a Panzerjäger command coming out for our Panzer Elite player. Hasn't really built anything out of this camp company center right here on the left that does build mortars and not AT half tracks, but infantry half tracks. Very good against infantry. Lots of kiting. However, they do take normal damage from these riflemen and whatnot. They don't really act as like the American half-track or the Wehrmacht half-track. So what is he building right now? He's actually building, I believe that's a scouting car. If it's a scouting car, it's not going to do too much damage. It can do its damage, a little bit of harassment here, prevent some capping and whatnot. If it's an armored car, it's going to do a ton of damage and be very, very annoying against these riflemen, as they can kite. It can kite all day. Once it takes the damage, it just goes back, repairs, and comes back and starts doing the damage once again. So really, no real manpower loss there. And let's see what it officially is. I don't play Panzer Elite too much, as you probably already know that, and it's going to be an armored car. So yes, I don't see why you'd build a scout car anyway. So the armored car is now out on the field, and all 4 Panzer Grenadier squads are out, fully health and reinforced. Let's see if our US player can reinforce this. There is 1 mine here, so we'll try to keep an eye on that, see what it does. It is on the road, so if the armored car decides to take the road, which it by default it does to get that 10% speed bonus, it will hit that mine. But it doesn't look like it will at the moment. Needs to back up a little bit, taking quite a bit of damage from that flamethrower. Unnecessary damage right there. So he does have the 3 squads to repair, to focus repair on it if he really decides to. You can see it's already 1/4 the health down, but it has done the damage and forces these guys to retreat very close to that mine. Needs to be really, really careful, but he really can't be careful actually, because he doesn't know it's there. That's the purpose of a mine. Of course, you can see did the damage, now repairing it, and he is happy to go, and he's actually losing his 3rd fuel. But in the meantime, the Ketten is taking his opponent's fuel, so it's going to be back to two fuels versus 1 fuel in a little bit here. Unless these engineer squads moving to the left can prevent this Ketten from finishing the cap. That I don't know if it's going to be there in time. Let's see what happens if that engineer squad can get over there. I don't know if he's going to decide to keep his Ketten there and try to soak up the damage. However, it can get a damaged engine. Once it does that, it is pretty much a goner, and he decides to not risk it, take his Ketten out of there, and the American player is going to recap that +10 fuel. So it'll be 2 fuels against nothing until our player can recap that. He's actually triple building this Panzer Support Command. I think he's going for the Panthers, where you do have to get all 4 of your buildings up, and then I believe it is 3 upgrades from each building, or an upgrade from each building except 1. Not 100% sure. And yes, he does hit the mine, destroyed engine, so that mine definitely paying for itself, and you can see it's crippled. So really, if any rifleman could run up on this armored car, and do we see any riflemen coming out? No, but we do have the T-17 armored car, and that is probably going to finish off the armored car for sure. And unfortunately, you can't do anything about that. So he loses that armored car, and now once again he has 3 Panzer Grenadier squads fully health over here on the right side, taking on this rifleman. So hopefully he can take out this rifle squad before the reinforcements come, because this acts kind of as a buffer it just delays his army for so long, and he decides to get his butt out of there because this T-17 armored car is out on the field. Now I think about it, he doesn't have a counter for it at the moment, but he is getting a light AT half-track, which is great at a distance. It can't move its turret, so the T-17 armored car is either going to have to not engage it at all, or he has to find a really good flank on it, and needs to be really careful, because the ATF track can immobilize this armored car or any vehicle really, and then that allow this half track to go to town and kill it from a safe distance. So you can see he's wisely hiding it behind these buildings here. He knows the counter is going to come out eventually, and if it is that half track, which it is, it's going to be in a lot of trouble. So he's going out in the field. I don't think he sees it. Gonna check the fog of war. No, he doesn't see. He did see the T-17 armored car because of his munition point, but his half track was out of position and could not hit it. So he kind of gets an idea where the armored car is at. The armored car is actually circling around to the left side, trying to get a flank on that AT half track. Let's see what it does. Actually, it's going to go to this Ketten and deny capping power. That's definitely a smart move. Keeping use, if you can't fight your opponent's infantry, might as well go deny capping power. Get the best use out of your units, and this rifle squad once again holding the line temporarily, and then letting another rifle squad coming to this building. So really, he's just delaying the squad even more. That's 3 squads that could be capping, that could be walking around. And yeah, of course they're a fighting unit, but if you have 3 versus 1, that allows the US player to send his other squads to continually cap. And you can see this rifle squad actually seeing the position of the AT half track, The T-17 armored car is coming out onto the field. Let's see where that decides to go. The half track going to back off a little bit because it does take damage from that rifleman. Quite a bit of damage from the rifleman, and you can see he's actually getting quite a bit of veterancy from this. He decided to go assault on both of his units. Oh no, and a strafing run coming in from our American player. Didn't do too much damage. Could have been worse. It pins all those squads, so now he needs to be careful not to blob as much, as he does know his opponent did go airborne, and he has built another armored car. That's going to be very, very annoying. Once again, actually an AT gun to counter this half track, so really it's going to be a positional fight, as Company of Heroes always is, positional and micro. So you got to catch this AT gun out of position, or either catch your Panzer Elite, Panzer Elite's AT gun out of position. But it is a half track, so those on wheels can move a lot faster and soak up a little bit of damage when it's at full health and then get out of there. So we actually have 2 half tracks out on the field. I don't know if this is a little bit of a mistake, because if your opponent goes airborne, and he's not going to have a lot of vehicles out, especially with this AT gun out. So really it's just all of a direct counter to his armored car and his AT half tracks that aren't going to do too much. Really, the only thing they really counter is a T-17 armored car. They can snipe infantry, but it's not something it was really made for, and not going to really tilt the battle into your favor. So I wonder if he thought his opponent was going to go vehicles, and then it already popped out before he saw the AT gun or whatnot. But we'll see how it pays off later, or if it will hurt him later into the game. Looking at the map control, the US player is actually taking a significant amount of map control, taking up the left side, majority of the left side. Really, this +10 munition and the +5 fuel that is practically right next to Panzer Elite's base is all that's left, and then this kind of middle area. And really, the only thing keeping him from capitalizing on that is just is reinforcements that are just constantly coming out. So now we do have MP44s that are must need against these riflemen, because these riflemen do not have, oh, they do have bars. I didn't realize that. And we actually have a med bunker going up behind this hedgerow. Very good placement there. Nothing can hit it until this hedgerow goes down, which is pretty rare until you get into the late game tank fights and whatnot. And we have a little flank from the left side, so let's see if we can bum rush this bars, as they're the unsupported at the moment. It's actually doing a 2-prong attack here. Should be able to win the left side. If you can win the left side, come in here from the from the left side and take out this AT gun and start finishing off these squads. But unfortunately, actually loses both fronts. So my mistake. This T-17 armored car is really, and he gets immobilized. But when it gets immobilized, it kind of coasted behind this hedgerow away from this AT gun, so that's a little unfortunate for Audemed. And this medic bunker is already starting to get quite a bit of bodies in there, already about 1/4 up, and kind of a failed attack there. Didn't really do too much. Didn't even get a little damage to the AT gun, but not much. And we do have another mine placed here slightly to the left from his old mine. Let's see if he lands on that or not. Actually rolls over that with one of his vehicles. And the Panzer Elite hasn't been able to do too much, really. The US has been holding a good front line so far. Let's see the teching. Don't see anything building at the moment, just reinforcing and trying to come out once again. He is being very safe though, not getting too greedy, not getting frustrated with his units when he does lose a fight. He's keeping his ATF tracks in the back, and his armored car not going to make the same mistake twice. Really, he ran into a mine, so it wasn't really a micro problem, just unfortunate there. So he really needs to be wary of these mines. And the US player as well hasn't really lost too much. So both players not losing too much, just winning the fight for the US, and Panzer Elite hasn't been winning too many fights. And another mine going down once again, and that's a great spot. Just just because when if your opponent makes a push, he's gonna hide behind the green cover. He's coming from the north. Obviously, he's gonna hide behind the haystacks on these positions. And there is a fight here in the middle. It wasn't too much. The T-17 armor car should be able to push them away eventually. It doesn't do too much damage. It's going to take a little bit while actually decides to get out of there and retreat, as he knows it is not a winning fight, and pretty much a waste of manpower unless you're trying to delay your opponent, but that's not what he's trying to do. Looks like Panzer Elite players decided he can't make a push into the middle, and he's kind of adjusting to the left side at the moment with his vehicles. You can see where they're placed, and his capping power actually something happened here. One of his squads took quite a bit of damage. It doesn't look like there was a mine. I'm not too sure what it was, but he did retreat. It could have been another strafing run. I would assume so. I assume it's a strafing run. Not 100% sure. I'm sorry if I missed that, but yeah. Anyway, we have our Panzer Elite squads coming out once again. Let's see if he can actually make a push this time. Really, every time his opponent caps, he sends all his entire army over there, tries to get rid of them, and then he attacks, which allows the US player to say, oh, he's about to attack, time to set up my units, make sure they're all reinforced, quickly get them in position. So now he knows, you can see he's moving his units towards the right in this little center area here with his T-17 armored car and AT half-track. We have an armored car that may go for a flank. There's nothing here on the left side, and the AT gun isn't facing the correct direction at the moment. The T-17 armored car, great use of these buildings, hiding behind it once again, which denies this AT half-track from actually doing anything. Which really the AT half-track can go over here and start shooting on it. So I don't know why he doesn't reposition it. He doesn't feel too comfortable now. Actually, there's two 17 armored cars now coming here for the push, so now he really needs to bring his AT half-tracks. There's actually a motor half-track and the other AT half-tracks all the way on the left side. He's now pulling it over, realizing, hey, there's two 17 armored cars. He does immobilize one, though, and may be able to take that one out. The other T-17 armored car is not going to move up wisely because he knows there's two AT half-tracks. If he tries to go for this one, there's a possible chance of it getting run down by other vehicles. And this is what the Panzer Elite player needs, catching one of the armored cars out here and luring the defensive position out from the rifleman that actually loses once again. So unfortunately getting outgunned there. Oh, and he does have a motor half-track, so this could be a juicy spot here. Let's see what happens. Oh yes, gets 4 kills, damages that T-17 armored car quite a bit, and gets 2 more kills, doing insane damage there. This could have been a great victory for the US player, but unfortunately he blobbed the squads together to repair that and fight in there. And unfortunately still taking damage, needs to split his units right now or retreat them. This is unnecessary damage, while the Panzer Elite player is just going to town really. And I see what he's doing. The AT half-track's trying to shoot away that mortar squad, but you should still split your units regardless. And his AT half-track already has 7 kills, so doing a great job there. And because of the weakened force, the Panzer Elite player has reinforced all this time and is now coming out. Airborne is not that great against infantry, so he should be able to roll through that squad. Really, the only threat is actually these two 17 armored cars still here. He did repair that one. So the armored cars are still holding the line for him. If these weren't here, he would have been able to roll over that airborne squad, that weakened rifle squad, and an AT gun that is not going to do anything against infantry really, unless it gets a lucky shot. But still, it's not going to do much. So you can see Panzer Elite player is still suffering map control, actually losing the +10 munitions here in the middle. Going to check the teching. Looks like he's building another armored car. I guess that's what you can do. He does have 2 AT half-tracks to counter the T-17 armored cars. He just really needs to find them in a good position here, and the armored cars. If you can eliminate those T-17 armored cars on a fight, that would allow his armored cars to go to town on these riflemen and his infantry as well, and he pretty much wins the fight from there and out, because he does have 2 MP44s, and all these guys have the rifle upgrade with the assault veterancy as well. So it's just those armored cars. If he loses these, he's going to be in big trouble, and the Panzer Elite player will be very happy. So you can see he's pushing out in the middle, doing a 2 cap, while one squad in the back holds does some fire support there. Oh no, and another strafing run once again, eliminating 2 squads from this fight, and he actually kills a squad. Strafing run taking out 2 guys, and then the T-17 armored car finishing it off. And one now has 6 kills, the other one has 0. Oh man, actually almost killing that. I did not realize that must have been from that AT half. I'm not sure what did that, but it is almost dead. Maybe it was a mine, I'm not 100% sure. There is a mine that did go off over here. You can see all these big explosions. Oh man, another good hit by that mortar, so the mortar definitely paying for itself. That's the only really good thing the Panzer Elite has going for him right now, is that mortar. Every time he damages one of these armored cars, they surround it to repair it, and then his mortar half-track goes to town. And this could be what he needs. The armored cars for the Panzer Elite players going all over the place, doing quite a bit of damage to that armor, to the airborne squad that does not have any upgrades. Oh, and the mortar even landing on the armored car. Will it kill off this armored car? Damage engine is here. Oh no, it takes out the light half-track with one of his own AT guns, but is he going to try to muscle his way through and take it out? No, he does not, because it is using armor-piercing shells. You can tell by the sound. I believe it is. It sounds a little bit deep.